Now we got people to create a strong password. It's tough to get people to behave in a particular way. Ask any parent or any cybersecurity expert for that matter. For the latter, there's no better example than the use of weak passwords. One of the most prevalent and intricate problems in cybersecurity. It is the weakest link in the defense against hackers. For a long time, information security practitioners thought that all we had to do was tell people the difference between strong and weak passwords. The assumption was that people didn't choose strong passwords simply because they didn't know what a strong password looked like. Knowledge, it turned out, wasn't the only problem. Even when people understood what a strong password was, they didn't necessarily use one. It just wasn't worth coming up with one. And remembering it was too hard. Another approach has been to issue strong password suggestions to people. To take human choice out of the equation. Here's your password, thank you very much. But that didn't work either. People couldn't remember these complex passwords, so they wrote them down, effectively sapping their strength. In recent years, the emphasis has been more on finding the right nudge, the small manipulation in the environment within which passwords are chosen. An effective nudge would prompt people to change their behavior and choose stronger passwords. The problem, though, was coming up with the right nudge. Researchers have experimented, for instance, with displaying password strength meters to show people, as they type, how strong their passwords are. This effort, once again, builds on the assumption that if people know what a strong password is, they will use one. But the results of these efforts have been mixed. For 3 years, my colleagues and I searched for a visual nudge that would work for students who were in the process of choosing a password, falling short. At first, we simply displayed a range of different pictures above the password entry field, including a password strength indicator. One of these nudges exploited the idea that people rise to expectations. It showed them that the passwords we issued to them initially were weak, and that we expected them to choose passwords that were stronger. They typically did rise to the occasion, at least in the beginning of the year. However, they generally didn't choose passwords that were as strong as we'd liked. Another experiment superimposed an arrow that moved across the board of the graph as they typed, reflecting the strength of their password. Yet another displayed a pair of eyes above the password entry field, hoping to make people aware of the risks of someone else getting a hold of their password. All good ideas, all ineffective. The problem we realized was that strong passwords are simply too costly. They take longer to type and are harder to memorize. This means that people have no incentive to choose a strong password because we are all, by nature, cognitive missers. People will always choose the path of least resistance. That's just how we are made. A simple visual cue nudge doesn't have the power to overcome this tendency. What was needed was an incentive, and in the third year of our research, we found one. We told participants that the stronger the password they came up with, the longer they could keep using it. Ooh. We did this by displaying a dachshund with a bubble coming from his mouth, saying the stronger your password, the longer you can keep it. To make sure people got the message, as they typed, the text displayed just below the password entry field told them how long it would be before the password expired. For example, the password 123456 would only be valid for 2 weeks. Whereas a good password, like I ate 8 marshmallows at the barbecue, would expire after 6 months. As the password got stronger, the time to expiration became greater. In effect, instead of merely trying to change people's behavior with a visual nudge, we actually offered them an incentive. After 6 months of offering this incentive, the overall password profile of the entire group was significantly stronger Now, a caveat. We don't believe that this kind of nudge ought to be widely adopted for every possible account. It should only be used when something of real value is being protected, like a bank or email account. Strong passwords are costly in time and effort, so we should do our best to help people match the strength of their passwords to the value of the assets they protect. That's because no nudge can address the root cause of weak passwords: human memory limitations. Until we solve the problem of human memory, or until more people are willing to use external tools such as password managers, nudges can only help so much. If we try to use these nudges for all accounts, it's likely to backfire. People won't be willing to remember lots of complex passwords, as they'll go back to using weak passwords for everything. If a nudge becomes a drudge, it loses its power to sway.